Good afternoon, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of Quarantime. As always, I'm your host, RP, and joining me in the studio live, my co-host, M3. We've got plenty to talk about today, guys. Fresh D-Class on the horizon. Patriots from all over the globe. North, south, east, and west. Please do us a favor. Don't forget to like and share this broadcast. Help us break through the algorithm. Matthew Becker, first timer in the audience. Glad you're here, Matt. Saddle up, folks. Dave. From Patriots from all over the earth, whatever size or shape it might be. Oh, good to see you, dude. Oh. All right, gang. No matter what you believe, please, everyone, do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn and your coffee, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Franklin's Finest Coffee is the first ever emergency survival coffee with an actual up to 25-year shelf life. The kit provides a 1-year supply of flavorful Franklin's Finest coffee for one person. It's conveniently packaged in 12 resealable, 60-serving, heavy-duty 4-layer zipper pouches for a total of 720 servings. It's all packaged in a rugged, water-resistant bucket for easy storage, and Franklin's Finest Coffee is the ultimate survival perk, especially for those that drink coffee on a daily basis. Or you can take it camping. It's 100% Colombian, and it's also the perfect item for barter or trade in an emergency. You'll thank us later for that tip. As Benjamin Franklin said, among the numerous luxuries on the table, coffee may be considered as one of the most valuable. It excites cheerfulness without intoxication, and the pleasing flow of spirits which it occasions is never followed by sadness, languor, or debility. I said grab your coffee because I am drinking coffee myself, and of course I know ahead of time who the sponsor is going to be. Welcome everyone to another edition of Quarantime. We are ready for another comfy chat on a weekday afternoon. Methods, how are you, buddy?
Man, I'm doing awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. DCL Drone asks for any sauce on Flynn. Which sauce might you be looking for? What flavor of sauce on General Flynn? Because as far as I know, nothing additional has happened. There's all kinds of things that could happen. I mean, we're obviously looking for information leading to an arrest or an indictment. We do have sauce on something related to that. There could be some of that coming up. But I don't know. Methods, has there been any developments in the General Michael Flynn case?
Well, right now I'm watching the Chiron on Fox News, and they're talking about the possibility of the unmasking situation going public.
Oh,
because
that's right.
Yeah, so that's what we're waiting on now because we want names. And apparently that's what Grinnell was carrying over to Barr personally, that they made a pretty big spectacle about it. I find that, non-coincidental that they wanted people talking about what's in the satchel or whatever you want to call that thing he was carrying. I've seen arguments over that as well. But yeah, I'm really excited to see, those names itself, because it's going to be rough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And as you said, the rumor is that it has something to do with a list of Obama officials. And I find it interesting that last night our favorite Anon posted a little clip of Trey Gowdy interviewing James Comey, or I guess grilling James Comey in a session of Congress, asking questions about who could have unmasked, who might have unmasked, how many people had the power to unmask. And he went through a list of people. And obviously, you know, from the post itself, it says, listen carefully. So I was just, you know, picking that apart last night, wondering which portion of this are we supposed to listen carefully to. Obviously, the names, I think, are very important because the way that Trey Gowdy said it, he had very specific names in mind that he wanted to know if they had the ability to unmask. And he did go all the way up to including the president, the office of the White House. But I also thought that it was very telling, the segment where James Comey discussed the culture at the FBI, the training, the sanctity of FISA, and how the agents that worked underneath him couldn't possibly have done anything untoward. There was nothing wrong with anything they did. But obviously, hindsight being 2020, we know that that is completely not the case. Absolutely the opposite.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Anytime they jump to, you know, the credit and, you know, them being very respectful agency and doing work by the book when you're being questioned about things not being by the book, you know, it makes it suspect. And then, you know, Comey had to come back years later and say that, you know, they made mistakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, that goes totally against what you said during the hearing when Gowdy was grilling you. But yeah, the names were interesting. I'd like to see, you know, a lot of names be tamed in this, because then you can make the argument for a conspiracy off the rip when the stuff occurs. So it opens in a lot of different directions.
You know what else I was struck by in that testimony was the casual sleaziness of Jim Comey. The way that he was interacting, and, you know, he comes off as, you know, just this kind of like blatant self-righteousness. You know, how could you imagine that anything that we did or that I did was anything other than by the book? And he had this, you know, this banter that he engaged in with Gowdy, and also with Admiral Rogers, who was sitting to his left, you know, checking in with him to make sure that he had said it correctly. You know, oh, did I get that right, Mike? You know, I thought that was interesting. I mean, James Comey seems to be just a natural-born liar. He's very good at what he does.
How else did he get that high up, all the way to directing the FBI during all these previous administrations that we know were garbage? You know, to have him get that far, he had to be really, really good at, you know, lying. I'll be nice about my words here today.
Yeah. I mean, and carrying a lot of water for the Clintons too. You know, he was
right.
Yeah, he was the water boy for the Clintons. Okay, so Atomic 419 says, Red Pill, can you give my mom Leah a shout out? I am red pilling her and she's watching now. What's up, Leah? You're watching Red Pill 78. This show is called Quarantime, and it's where myself and my co-host Methods sit back and have a comfy conversation about all of the interesting things that we've seen in the news so far that day. And we also talk about things from days past as well. Leah, I'm so pleased that you are here joining us. Thank you, Atomic 419, for turning your mom onto the show. Now go ahead and turn your friends onto it as well, and show them the future of truth in journalism. Let me just give a couple of quick thank yous. Shen Asta, thank you for joining as a member. Kellen Quincy, thank you for joining as a member. Also, Berta White, thank you for joining as a member. And CB's daughter, thank you for joining as a member. Now, Miami Chris, this is an interesting comment. Steve Martin is the biggest white rabbit in Hollywood. Signs autographs with a 666 in his first name. Monarch Pressings record label, his first comedy albums. Wow. I gotta tell you, I grew up like watching Steve Martin, like his comedy shows, and watching him on SNL, and I thought he was a comedy genius. Movies like The Jerk and The Nice Guy. There was a couple of other ones that I just can't think of at the moment, but it is a difficult thing when you learn that people that you previously looked up to have some pretty horrible habits behind closed doors. I have to verify all that stuff, Chris, but I don't doubt that you would put it in there if you've had some level of verification about it. But thanks for telling us. Yeah, too bad. We've been deceived.
And to that point, like I've been having a hard time because we have free time to watch other things in the evening and stuff when we want to wind down from all this research and shows and stuff. I'm having a hard time going back and watching movies that I used to enjoy growing up, and I'm like, oh, this person's in it, and they're just a garbage person, and that's came out recently.
Yeah,
I've had a different. That's why I can't really watch even new shows. My entire entertainment when it comes to, because I used to watch movies all the time.
me too.
And now I just can't even get through one if I see one of them and I'm like, they're really an evil person.
Well, and even like comic books and comic book movies, you see the direction the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going. I'm shedding a tear for what might have been, but the same thing, I don't watch any new like shows at all, like, because everything that I see, I see the predictive programming that they've built into it. The way that they're trying to sculpt society, the buzzwords that they throw in there, the dog whistles, and it's really awful. I mean, it's totally ruined anything, close to popular culture for me, which is why I watch YouTube if I do watch anything at all. I don't watch my own show because, I'm doing it right now. But
right.
I love being able to find quality programming on YouTube and catch up with my friends, see their perspective on things and, check it out. It's getting harder and harder, and it has been. I think it's kind of leveled off. I don't know about you, but I feel like the stuff that I want to watch, I'm able to watch now. It's not quite as hidden, and there's a new channel that I found the other day. Actually, Real Red Pill Girlfriend turned me on to it. It's Liberal Hive Mind. It's hilarious. The guy does a really good job, and he's in that unique spot where YouTube is not hiding his videos anymore. Like if you go to his channel, you watch a video, there'll be more videos from him in the suggestions below. But like any other channel that I subscribe to, it's all just Fox News or it's ABC or MSDNC, something like that. So it's a good channel. If anybody wants to check it out, go ahead and say that Red Pill 78 sent you.
And I'll agree. And I'm curious with our audience here. And thank you guys for hanging out. Click like if you're enjoying the show. How many of you are having press 1 if you are now watching shows and movies and you can't turn your decoder off?
Mm-hmm.
Because I do the same thing. I'm like, what's the narrative? What's the point behind this? Where are they going? And then I think about the year that the movie came out and what kind of agenda was being pushed. So give me a 1 if now you just cannot turn your decoder off watching anything that's quote unquote entertainment. Give me a 2 if you could turn that off. And, in that case, I'm very jealous of you.
I just did a 1, and it looks like I haven't seen a single 2 yet. Everybody is a 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah. Once your mind is opened, you can't close it back down again. So, this is why it's so important to me that we, with a community with a set of shared values, are able to produce content that we can like and digest and share with each other, rather than being forced to consume whatever the Hollywood product of the day is. I'm hoping that in the years to come, we're going to see new studios pop up. We're going to see new production houses pop up, people who want to put out content that is based on storytelling. Okay, let's have just a good story. Why do we have to put the unnecessary social messages in it? Like, let's just do a story about real life. You don't have to make it contrived and, so you've got a formula. You've got to have, 20% this, 20% that, 30% this, and 10 and 10 of, this and something else, so that we can make sure that we've got total representation. If you are a person who is, a part of one culture and you want to write from the perspective of that culture, then do that. And let somebody else who's from another culture write about the perspective of that culture. Why does everything have to be completely just packed to the gills with, every color of the rainbow? It just, it ruins it for me.
I totally agree. Well said. There's maybe 1 or 2 good movies that come out throughout the year. That's like that good heartfelt family movie. I think I forget who it's based off of, but my wife had me sit down and watch that I Can Only Imagine movie that had to do with heartfelt. You can find maybe 1 or 2 throughout the year, but besides that, the rest of them, what you're going to get in some form manipulation or narrative spin or whatever the case may be, or that actor or actress that you just can't stand looking at because of how much we research and see them on Twitter and all that stuff.
Yeah. Somebody's TMI says, why are so many messages held for review? It's not me. I mean, it's YouTube that does it. So I know that what they're trying to do is hold messages they think might be spam. So if you're putting too many emojis in it, if you're putting, I don't know, too many, if you put curse words in it, it's gonna hold it for review. But definitely it's because they're trying to catch the spam bots, because I'm sure you guys have been here before when we had just, a whole bunch of fake accounts that were posting, hearts and peaches and asking people to come check out their channels. Yeah, it's, it's a safety issue. Let me go through. We got quite a few thank yous I need to do here. Stephanie Oostvan, the Critter Chick, says, I trust Sessions, always have. I feel Trey Gowdy is a gatekeeper. We're going to talk about Trey Gowdy. I trust Sessions, too. And even Trey Gowdy, no matter, where his loyalties fully lie, I think Trey Gowdy has a role to play. And he's played it. We're going to specifically talk about Trey Gowdy later in the program. Zoso Dude 77 says, many thanks to you, RP, and our awesome chat family. I literally felt the prayers laying on the gurney. Surgery, a complete success. Good stuff, dude. Brutal pain is gone. Thanks, prayer warriors. I love you all. Zoso, I'm so happy to hear that, buddy. Thank you so much for sharing. Dale Bercier says, James Corney, a higher loyalty, my ASS. Just Woke Patriot 59. Love your show. Just woke in early March. Jaw still on the ground. Can you tell me why Trump promotes testing so much? Well, I mean, I've only got my theories as to why he would promote testing. We've got people who are suggesting that we have this terrible situation taking place. President Trump can only do so many things. He has to react to what his advisors are telling him, what the CDC is saying. I would imagine if we had adequate, proper testing and there were enough tests, then we would be able to tell that, people either have the sickness or they don't have the sickness. I also think there are many people out there who would become anxious as a result of all of the fear-mongering taking place. So if they're able to get a test, they can be shown to not have the sickness, then they can put their mind at ease. Methods, what do you think about it? Why would President Trump be saying, testing?
Well, I mean, first off, they're trying to attack him on the other side about him not doing enough testing.
Oh.
So it's kind of part of the conversation itself. But to your point, all the fear mongering and stuff that's out of necessarily right now the control of Trump, because the media is doing it on everybody's got this, you need to stay inside. Well, what better way to ease people's minds if they're able to, if the testing's out there, right?
Right.
You take your test before you go back to college in the fall, or back to work, all this stuff. It makes things easier for those that are, even for those that do drink the MSM Kool-Aid. We have to think about them too.
Mm-hmm.
And so having that out there, that Trump's really having all these tests happen, all that means that they're getting to a point to where it's going to feel safe to get back to whatever normal is in our society now.
Right. I mean, he has to counter the narrative in some way. And if he said testing is unnecessary, we don't need to make tests available, then they would completely attack him as a result of that. So Dale Bercier, thank you again. Just Woke Patriot. Glad that you're here, and congratulations on waking up. Rook Castle says, in honor of National Limerick Day, there once was a show at 2. Red Pill and Methods came through. The chat is a fam. United we stand. I don't have the Rona, do you? I love it. That was great. She's good. She's real good.
That's perfect.
And then Just Woke Patriot again says, how can I send you a short video of a senator in the hearings this morning? Not much fear as he removes his mask, wipes his nose, then puts his mask back on. Redpill78 at protonmail.com. Make sure that you put in all caps, video from chat in the subject line. I get so many emails. I can't respond to the vast majority of them, but I want you guys to know that I will eventually have read them all. Richard James Pike says, woohoo, glad to see you boys. We are the news now. Yes, we are. Kathleen Glockner, I love you guys. Thanks for all you do. Where we go one, we go all. Popcorn ready for booms. It is coming. Navy Vet says, coincidence that they are talking about unmasking in the news and demon rat governors are requiring U.S. citizens be masked to open the states. I wonder if there is some level of connection between that. I mean, we're talking about unmasking of U.S. citizens, and the governors are talking about putting masks on. What if this whole thing was a vast conspiracy to obscure the search results if people were searching for unmasking methods.
That was my only thought, that that it would be, but I mean, to me, they're two different worlds.
They are. Well, listen, before I get into the rest of these super chats, we wanted to start off talking about the Judicial Watch case. I'm sure everyone remembers Judicial Watch had won in court subpoenaing Google itself for emails kept on a private email address, which was used by HRC and the guy Stone Tier. I can't remember his name. From Methods. Do you remember his name? The guy who had the Carter Heavy Industries Gmail address?
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure somebody in the chat will help us out with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what this has to do, and I'll go ahead and drop the Ivan tweet in the chat so everybody can have that, because it's good to share, because this is something that's kind of flying under the radar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all talking about even the Flynn stuff and all that. This is happening behind the scenes. And what you have here is that it's a Gmail account that showed up in the metadata of Hillary Clinton's emails. And so it was subpoenaed because Judicial Watch is a beast. Love them. Tom Fitton's great. That's why we made the Chuck Norris memes about him. And there's metadata showing that there was Gmail tied to that stuff. And if you want to think about what our favorite Anon has said about Gmail drafts and things of that nature being there, because wouldn't that, in theory, the drafts would save, because then they're signing in and signing out to read the information. And if the audience doesn't know what I'm talking about, the idea that a lot of these people were having conversations by signing into the same Gmail account, and then writing an email draft but not sending it, and then the other person comes in and sees the draft itself, right?
Yeah.
So they're passing messages without passing messages.
Yeah. So it never gets sent; it just gets saved in the draft folder, and then multiple people log in. But what's even more interesting about this Carter Heavy Industries at gmail.com, and I'm sorry, it was Paul Combetta from earlier. That was the name I was trying to remember. Paul Combetta actually was forwarding all of Hillary Clinton's email. All of the email that came into the server was being forwarded to the Carter Heavy Industries at gmail.com email address. Now, the Carter Heavy Industries Gmail address is unique because of that, because if the information was sent to the Gmail server, then it's going to still be there. They're still going to be able to retrieve all that data, even if the emails had been deleted. But they also are using the name of a Chinese company. Now, Carter Heavy Industries is a Chinese company, and I don't know that they've been able to connect this email to that company. I think that perhaps they actually were unable to, and maybe Paul Combetta was just using this to obscure the true nature of what this email was for. But I mean, this is an opportunity for Judicial Watch to get every single deleted HRC email and everything that she sent or received. And if they also were using it for the draft login for multiple people, they should be able to receive that information as well. Now, this is huge, and they've got until, May 15th or May 12th to turn it over at midnight?
As in tonight.
Oh gosh, it's already May 12th?
Right. Yeah, this year, you think about the million things that have happened this year, it feels like 5 years combined. But, in turn, it has kind of flown by, right?
Yeah, it really has. I mean, it's incredible to see. All right. Well, thanks again, Kathleen and Navy Vet. Elizabeth Cole says, must see Good Dog Channel YouTube. Okay, I will check it out. Is that like a news channel, or is it actually Good Dogs? Because I don't know if everybody knows this, but I love those dog rescue videos where, the dog is found in the street or like living out in the country, and they capture it and then they bring it in and they teach it how to love again, and then they make it healthy. Tranquility Base says Amazon show upload has Opera Kamala poster on the wall. Okay, Amazon show. The name of the show is Upload. We'll have to check it out. Kate Rue, thank you for joining as a member. Patriot Dog Dad 1, Disney announced that Samuel L. Jackson will play the role of Ariel in the remake of The Little Mermaid. Is this the live-action Little Mermaid? Oh, cue the music. Movies, I get PO'd at liberal commercials. I feel you there, brother. Blue Mango says, are you familiar with Morocco being the second largest film studio? Does this mean anything? I was not aware that Morocco had the second largest. You mean in the whole world? It wouldn't be someplace in Hollywood? I mean, there's a lot of money in Morocco, so I guess it's not that, that's not crazy. But, I mean, you don't hear about a lot of big blockbuster films coming out of Morocco. Or maybe it's just a soundstage. I don't know. Phoenix Rising 8, thank you for that. Untamed Species 73, another great show, RP and M3, thank you for that, brother. Spencer Ring says, we all have bias, it's just clear the deep state spin is based on poor principles. Lack of moral character is what I would say. Ames HD, thank you for that. Bob Ayala, enjoying the show. Have you guys heard the song called What a Beautiful Black Sky? I haven't actually heard it. I saw it being shared. There was a couple people that sent it to me. I just haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but it's something that's on my list. The Mikado 16, thought on Illuminati card game, it's scary accurate. Yeah, I actually bought some of them online so that I could take a look at them. Unfortunately, to get the really good ones, you have to pay a ridiculous amount of money, so it's something I'm kind of doing slowly over time. But my goal is to be able to show them to you guys here on the channel, and then we can talk about them. So yes, very scary, very accurate. Blastum Duke says, check out Jeff Sessions' Facebook about why he recused himself and put him back in the White House White Hat column. Great post. That is interesting. I have not seen that. Methods, did you hear about that?
I saw his tweet about it, but it links to Facebook, and you know how I feel about Facebook, so I'm going to get a screen cap and read it later.
Okay. I'm gonna see if I can't pull that up right now.
If I heard it correctly, it's pretty lengthy.
Okay. So, setting the record straight on recusal. Holy jeez, this is very lengthy. And of course, it goes away once I try to read it because I don't have a Facebook account to log into. All right. Well, no worries, no worries. So, obviously, this Google, HRC email story, this is big. I mean, tomorrow this really should break open. I would imagine that Tom Fitton is at least going to have an announcement to say, they gave them to us, they produced the data, or they refused to produce the data, which means that they're going to end up going back to court. This is, they've been compelled by subpoena to do this. I don't know what's going to happen if they don't turn them over, but it should be very interesting to see what is the eventual outcome of this. They're going to be looking for that tomorrow. Blastum Duke, thanks again. Gaffer Anon says, late to the show, but busy retweeting hashtag Obamagate on Twitter, hashtag sore thumbs. Yeah, we've been able to keep that going. I actually haven't checked on the progress today to see how many tweets there are, but yesterday I talked about it in the video. They wiped, 2 million tweets off the map, and there's absolutely no way that there was 2 million bots that were tweeting that. This is just clearly suppression of the hashtag. Ashley Lamb says, I think there's a huge connection with the virus, impeachment, etc., and the China trade deal. Has anyone read the entire thing? Very interesting. I have not read the entire thing, but I will say this. I know that since this whole thing happened, China has reneged on its commitments in terms of that initial trade deal. So they're not doing what they promised. Clearly, the sickness has thrown the entire world into chaos. Pretty much, every economy on the face of the earth has been stifled and is ground to a halt. So it is very possible that China, has done something to impact that. Baby Yoda, what's up, brother? I saw some dog love under your desk the other day, still laughing. Yeah, man, those poor dogs. Real red pill girlfriend started tweeting hashtag Muffingate.
Yeah, man, that's not going away at all anytime soon.
Yeah. Trump Be Cool says, do you think most of these bad actors will fall under sedition or treason? Treason seems to require war. Maybe why 17 drops about the silent war. Either way, they're both basically the same thing. In terms of what they're doing to the country. So I would be happy if it's treason or sedition. Obviously, there are some people that are going to qualify for straight up treason, but I think that we are actively in a silent war, and I think that the postings about that is no coincidence. I think that we've technically been at a state of war since September of 2001, haven't we, Methods?
Right. So that's where when people ask me that, on Twitter and stuff, I'm not too sure how to answer it because what falls under all of those things? I'm not a lawyer guy. I try to follow all these things, but what would technically fall under certain umbrellas? Sedition's obviously a given on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But it gets into different situations when it comes to just, perjury and, working, conspiracy stuff. What falls into that is it all just get wrapped up in RICO. So to me, speculating, I just want to see the charges themselves, and I know a lot of us just want to see charges.
Yeah.
But to me, it'll be very interesting to see what they tie to which name as this goes forward.
All right. Stephanie Sprague says, do you think during the State of the Union, when Pelosi tried to shake Trump's hand, she was trying to give him the Rona and he knew? Well, I mean, we haven't seen Nancy Pelosi come down with anything. I've actually been kind of surprised about that. I mean, she seems to be kind of fragile. She doesn't have the best of health, and she is actively suppressing her immune system with her midday cocktails. So, I don't know. Maybe not.
To that point, though, there's been this rumor and speculation, and sources say this, that, and the other, and I'm not going to name where I've seen it different places, but there are saying that they are trying to get Trump and Pence to come down with the Kung flu, because if they're incapacitated, then Pelosi would be calling the shots.
I saw that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, once again, sources say that it's interesting, but we don't know for sure if that's the real intention. It would make sense, but no, it's not anything we can just say is fact.
Well, I mean, the people that are speculating on it, I mean, the people I've seen speculating on it are like left-wing pundits. I mean, it's more like a fever dream. They're like, please God, the one time they're going to pray.
I've seen people, I guess we'll just say on our side.
Oh no,
that are going out there and saying the sources stuff. And I'm not trying to dog anybody. Yeah. I know a lot of people in the chat would probably know who I'm talking about. But it's one of those things that if a tweet just says my sources say, and it's a bunch of stuff that sounds great that you want to click like and believe in it, then don't take it with a grain of salt until otherwise there's like a recording of them planning this mass thing to poison the president like that. If
your source is an Instagram meme, then just sit on it for a little bit. Let's see. Red Pills War Hockey says Nina Simone is awesome. Isn't she a singer, Nina Simone? Chris Walsh, thank you for joining as a member. Abel Delta says, wasn't HRC supposed to testify soon? I don't got the Rona. She is supposed to testify. She's being compelled, and it just hasn't happened yet. So I think maybe they're going to wait until they get those emails, so then they have specific content to ask her about. Game Changer says, hashtag Flynn Cuff Obama. By the way, how do you change $L? By the way, how do you change $? LOL. I don't know what you mean by how do you change the $? Oh, how do you change the amount? If you're doing it on a phone, there's like a slider bar, and when you put in the text that you want, there's a slider bar, and you move it to the right, and then that changes the dollar amount. Rod Rodenstein, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Stephanie Oostvin says, hashtag Obamagate hit 4 million on Twitter twice. I wonder what it's at right now, guys, if anybody can get an updated total for us. Hater Proof, my brother from another mother, says, hey, Red Pill 78, Yacht Club de Monaco. I know that Monaco is a place that really rich people hang out, and I've seen it in James Bond films. That's about all I know. Eric Anderson, POTUS destroyed Joe Scarborough, MSDNC in one tweet. I haven't seen that. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here in a second.
It was brutal.
Okay.
It was brutal.
John Matrix says, get Shad Sullivan, a cattle rancher in Texas. I know exactly who you're talking about. I don't know how to get a hold of Shad, but I would love to talk to him. He's got important info on how family ranchers in the meat industry are getting shut down by the big four companies that control our meat supply. Yeah, I saw an interview that he did with Valuetainment with Patrick Bet-David the other day. White Hat said, sent the Sessions stuff in DM just in case. Thank you, White Hat. Baby Love 78, I have been questioning Gowdy since he resigned. He has ignored intel given to him about Benghazi. Just saw that on Just Informed Talk. All right, well, before we get to Trey Gowdy, we got to talk about this ODNI stuff.
Well, before we even do that, we've got 4,800 people here hanging out with us. 1.7 thousand likes is what I see. If you guys don't mind clicking that like button and sharing this on your social media, hashtag Obamagate, whatever, hashtag Panic in DC, hashtag Obamagay has been pretty funny. Hey, it's suggested when you start typing it out, so don't shoot the messenger. But yeah, and thank you to everybody that's shown up in my PayPal. I really, really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you everybody for supporting Methods. We do appreciate it. We wouldn't be able to do so much research if he was taken out. Chantel Johnson, thank you for that. We appreciate it. Oh, speaking of Rick Grinnell, the acting ODNI, So he dropped that big tranche of documents off on Friday, and everybody's talking about it. People were wondering what it was. He had a satchel, and like Method said, what type of bag it was is open to interpretation. I mean, it was bigger than a briefcase, so it looked like it could have held quite a few documents. But they are supposed to be names of the officials that were involved in the unmasking of General Flynn in his phone calls, and like we said earlier, I think it's no mistake that this is being reported today. And then last night, we had that testimony from Jim Comey where Trey Gowdy was asking about all of those people who might possibly be able to do the unmasking. So did you realize that Grinnell is also the ambassador to Germany?
That was his. I don't know if he can hold both titles, but
Yeah.
he was previously an ambassador before all this.
He is still the remaining U.S. ambassador to Germany because he's only acting DNI.
Okay, well then, learn something new.
That's right, man.
I learned something with the class today. That's fun.
Yeah. So and I talked about this at length in my 6 p.m. Red Pill News video yesterday. It really does appear that the entire investigation, everything from start to finish, was instigated by Renegade himself. He's the one who brought the call to Sally Yates' attention. He's the one who called the meeting in the Oval Office to talk about the information obtained from that call. He got briefed by James Clapper, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But what was really fascinating to me, Methods, is that he requested the investigation. He requested that people that were staying over in the new Trump administration to continue to report to him about what was going on, and also to withhold information from President Trump and the incoming administration. So that takes us back to that shadow president posts talking about, all of the moves that Barry was making in the background, shadowing President Trump at, foreign lands, going to talk to leaders, doing shadow diplomacy with John Kerry. Like, he literally was running a shadow government, even like over and above whatever that 7th floor group was.
Right, and that makes you wonder, and it's probably a safe bet. Think about everything that's been happening. Like, each phase, they have to have something to go after Trump with, right?
Yeah.
Like the Ukraine gate stuff, and then even going after Kavanaugh, people that Trump has been trying to put into place. How much of the counter narrative came from a phone call with Obama? Mm-hmm. How much was he involved in every single phase of obstacles that they've been putting in the way? Has he been giving them advice? Has he been pulling the strings entirely? That's the kind of thing that you have to bring into question when you start seeing the shadow presidency stuff. And that's why that leaked phone call, whether they did it or not, or somebody just did actual reporting, that lets you know kind of like how that would have played out. So it's just interesting to me to see how much he's been involved in causing problems.
When I initially heard that phone call, I just thought that, he was speaking to, maybe a group of high-level Democratic donors. But, you bring up an excellent point. That essentially is a shadow cabinet meeting right there. Because apparently those were people that were formerly in his administration. So he's getting on these conference calls, or maybe it's a Zoom call or something like that, and he's giving people directions. I honestly believe that he was spearheading this entire thing from the very beginning. I think that he may have people pulling his strings, but I do think that he has an incredible amount of power still over and above people who previously served underneath him. And that's why it's so important that we flesh out these people that are still in President Trump's administration, that are secretly working for him and not working for the best interests of the country.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Nevermind Krabs says the deep state is trying to take out Red Pill 78. First, Blinkgate. Second, Doggergate. # over the target. Larry Giordano, I'm newly awakened. I thank you for keeping informed on what I kind of thought was going on. I am the graphic artist for George Magazine in 1997. I wish when I read I'd paid attention to. Well, Larry, that's pretty sweet, man. That might be interesting to have a conversation with you. I would imagine that if you were at George Magazine, maybe you had a chance to meet JFK Jr. That would have been pretty cool. Haterproof says the protected area is 8,243 square miles. What were we talking about? Protected area. What protected area, Haterproof? The provisional says Maxine Waters' Big Brother on YouTube. Maxine Waters' Big Brother has a YouTube channel? Well, I'll have to check that one out. But all right, so we've got reporting from Kevin Cork, who's saying that there's 5 or 6 pieces of intelligence that are going to be declassified. And Brooks Singman is reporting that the ODNI is not going to be the one releasing the documents. It's actually going to be the Department of Justice that's releasing the documents. Now, my first thought when I heard that was that, oh, okay, well, the ODNI does the unredacting. They're the ones who are approving this stuff to come out. I figured the ODNI would be the one to release it. Well, no, they have to unredact it so that another agency can release it. I was hoping, maybe if the Justice Department is going to be the ones releasing it, maybe it will be publicized in a press conference, and maybe we're going to hear about some charges for some of these people. But it actually is that the ODNI doesn't specifically release its own information. They have to unredact it and then pass it on to somebody else. Now, Methods, with that being said, that doesn't mean that we don't have some other news coming along with it. I feel it would be so much more impactful if they were to release it in conjunction with the announcement that somebody was going to pay for this. Because, I mean, remember yesterday that clip from Jim Comey and Trey Gowdy? I mean, that's a 10-year minimum sentence for revealing or unmasking an American citizen and then releasing the information to the public. 10 years minimum.
Right, which makes me wonder that if and when they do release these names publicly, because there's still a lot of chatter out there that it's being declassified to be handed over to investigators, and they have the intent of making it public. We're not 100% sure if it's going to see the light of day today or tomorrow or whatever. So full disclosure on that. I agree with you. Having this stuff come out with some kind of action would be great, because that is 10 years. Mm-hmm. So that list that we hopefully will see here soon, you could just put 10 years next to every name then, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every single one. And then Samantha Power, she unmasked hundreds of American citizens. What was she doing that for? I mean, did the information about those people, did that come out to the press? There's so many people who got leaked. So many different tidbits of information. The 5, 6, 7 people, whoever it is, as far as I'm concerned, everybody in that meeting has some level of culpability. We're talking about all the heavy hitters. Like DOJ, the assistant district or assistant Department of Justice. We had Vice President. We had the National Security Advisor. The Jim Clapper. We had Comey. We had Brennan. All of these people, all of these big names, the biggest people in Barry's cabinet and in his administration, they're the ones. And I feel like something would be wasted if they just released their names to the public and then, whatever, nothing happens. But on this whole point, a friend of the channel, The Sharp Edge, I know you know her, she tweeted out the explanation from Rogers on the unmasking process. So I'm going to drop that here in the chat as well, just because it's good to hear it from him explain, because basically a big takeaway from it is that, let's say that somebody goes and requests for somebody to be unmasked for whatever reason, and they have to explain it's a part of my investigation, I need this name unmasked. Mm-hmm. Well, then they go to the NSA would be like, yeah, okay, we're going to give it to you for this reason, but you can only have it for your investigation. It cannot go any further. And he was explaining how the entire process is logged on who actually signs off on the unmasking, who received it, what was the reasoning behind it. So if we were opening a can of worms of they were actually just unmasking people just for the sake of it without reasons or actual investigations going on, then that can explain a lot of the reason why this is taking so long. Okay. All right. Well, we've also, I mentioned that Jim Clapper was there. Now, it came out in these recently released documents that Jim Clapper had specifically briefed Barry and I believe it was at that meeting that he briefed all of them on this situation. Now, he had previously testified in Congress back in July of 2017 that he had not briefed Barack Obama on this call between Kislyak and Flynn, but he actually did, January 5th, 2017, in that Oval Office meeting. Now, the fact that he lied to Congress, I mean, that is perjury right there. That could be something that Jim Clapper could be charged with as well. However, I feel that for those lower level crimes, they're not even going to bother with it. They're going to go straight to the big stuff. Now, if we see Jim Clapper getting charged with that, then that might mean that they can't get him on anything else. But there are other people involved in this that are clearly going to be charged with treason or sedition. It's going to be a big deal.
Right. I mean, if anything, it just paints the bigger picture of making sure this stuff doesn't happen again. If it's even a part of the charges, right? If you have it all wrapped up and be like, oh, and all of them were lying to Congress, the after effect of the situation itself. So yeah, I agree with you. It is kind of lower hanging fruit as compared to the other things that they were doing. Mm-hmm. And how long is this investigation really going back on the actions of these people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I want the book thrown at them. You know, I mean, charge them with everything you possibly can. I mean, make them have to plead to multiple things and then stack the jail time if that's what you have to do. But the only way that this is not going to happen again is if we tighten up the system and if we show that if you break the law, if you infringe upon the rights of Americans in this way and you try to overthrow your government, like, come on, you need to pay for that. It's a big deal. Patriot, Haterproof says Rochelle Bergeron won government-backed sanctuary in 2008. I still don't know government-backed sanctuary. I don't know what that is, Haterproof. Denise said, love Trump walking out of the kindergarten presser yesterday. Methods, did you happen to see that?
Oh, yeah. No, I got the clip out there. The woman was basically asking him questions, trying to just get her gotcha moment. And he turned around and told her to ask China. Well, since she was Asian, she was like, she pulled that whole like, well, why did you tell me to go ask China type thing? You could tell it was kind of all a setup, or she was looking for it.
Right.
And then he told her, he was like, I'm telling anybody that's listening to go ask China about whatever it was. And then she just wanted to keep going, and he tried to move on, and she just kept going. So he just said, see ya. Okay. And walked away and left them all hanging.
Okay, I did hear about that. A game changer, he said, let's get this going. Hashtag Flynn Cuff Obama. Who agrees? Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and retweet that one. Patriot Dog Dad 1, Praying Medic just tweeted he got nuked on Facebook. Ouch. That is a big one right there. Oh, that's no good. Amerigal says, drowning in suppression here in California. Struggling stylist having to do bunker cuts in order to survive. God save us and wake up the libs. Amerigal, I am happy to hear that you are a stylist who is making sure that you're still cutting hair in your basement despite this lockdown. That is one of the most ridiculous things ever. I need a haircut so bad. I want it. It's getting to be summertime. This thing gets real hot. If I don't have my skin exposed, I need a haircut so bad. I can't wait to get back out there. Kathy Whitman, thank you for that. Gino says, what's your thoughts on 17's drop 4176, edited video of Trudeau? Is 17 telling Anons to make sure they're sauce before posting things? Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Do you know this drop that he's referring to specifically?
Right. It was the Trudeau clip specifically, but I saw people talking on Twitter about how it was edited, but I didn't take the moment. I was working on something else. But I'm sending you over. People are still asking for us to go over the Joe Trump tweet.
That's what we're going to do.
So I'm going to send that to you now.
Okay. All right. So, Methods, you want to set up this story about Joe Biden here?
About the tweet.
I'm sorry, Joe Scarborough.
I mean, basically, everybody remembers what happened with the situation. Wasn't it an intern or something like that ended up?
Yeah, I believe it was an intern. Yeah,
that ended up not breathing anymore. On in his office, and to have Trump bring it back up and go after. I love it. So yeah, the tweet says, "When will they open a cold case on the psycho Joe Scarborough matter in Florida? Did he get away with murder? Some people think so. Why did he leave Congress so quietly and quickly? Isn't it obvious? What's happening now? A total nut job."
That's a burn.
Right. So the fact that it just, I imagine he didn't know that Trump was going to tweet about that this morning. So it happened right first thing he's drinking his coffee. It's like, all right, what's the president tweeting about now that I'm going to have to cover and make fun of? And it's him. So that's great.
Did Joe Scarborough respond to this?
I haven't paid attention to it. I made it through 15 minutes of the Fauci hearing this morning, and I was just like, I'm over hearing anything like this. I'm not about to turn on, MSM News.
Look at this meme from my buddy Gunfag. It's Lori, unfortunately, the intern who lost her life, and then it's Joe Scarborough as a murder hornet.
That's terrible, but it's also pretty good.
This guy, he does great memes. Oh, man, that's funny. Okay. The hater proof. Okay, 1, 2, 3 yachts. Oh, WHO sanctuary where murder. Okay, I don't know anybody who lost their life on a yacht in Monaco, but we'll have to look into it. Hey Jude, do the POTUS tweet about Morning Joe. Pat Riot 2020. Got my haircut in Arizona yesterday. Good for you, buddy. It's hot in Arizona. Berserker Bear, Buffalo Dustin, Hillary to testify to Congress in a Dr. Lecter mask. I would like to see that. Deplorable in yoga pants. I'm a cattle rancher and can verify how financially despairing the industry is for us, ranchers and farmers. Beware, cool is a lie. Money for RP, real red pill girlfriend ring fund. Oh, thank you very much, Deplorable. But I'm having trouble pulling up post 4176. Hang on, I'm gonna have to go back. 4179. 4176. Okay, so Caleb Hull, Twitter status. Okay. Hang on just a second.
By asking all the moms to step out of the room for a minute so I can talk to your kids. I'll give you a second. Okay. By asking all the moms to step out of the room for a minute so I can talk to your kids.
So that's not a real video?
Yeah, I've just seen a few people pointed out that it was edited. Okay. But I didn't get into digging on the reasoning behind it being edited.
Huh.
Or if it was.
I don't know. I guess I don't know. That's interesting. All right, well, something to look into. Let's see. Kellen Quincy says, God bless Texas. Most everything is open again. Come on down. Someone will hook you up with a haircut, RP. That would be awesome. I'll see if I can make it out to Texas. Brittany Weidman, methods already liked, but I wanted to make sure you saw my tweet yesterday, trying to promote big voices like y'all's. Hopefully you guys can retweet it. I need friends on Twitter anyway, at Shutterbug. Okay, I did not see it, Brittany, but I'll look up your account. Son of a Green Card says the Trudeau clip is when he was asking moms to leave the room so he could talk to their kids. Edited, it seemed horrible, but the full clip, he was asking the kids to try to do something special for their mothers on Mother's Day. So it's just it's just a segment of the full thing that he was saying, the speech. Janet Manning, thanks for joining as a member. And Chef Dan, dining rooms and restaurants open up today in Arizona. If you live in Arizona, go support your local restaurant. All right, so the Joe Biden story, methods, that's what I wanted to talk about next. We had Joe Biden being interviewed on ABC News this morning on Good Morning America. They were asking him about his knowledge of the Flynn case.
Right, yeah. I'll go ahead and drop the article here in the chat so everybody can have it, because they've got the quotes, because he ended up being asked about it and then came back to it later. So the quote was, let me get to the original part of the quote. He goes, they asked him about the Flynn conversations and all that stuff with, the investigation into him and the conversation with Kislyak. And his quote was, I know nothing about those moves to investigate Michael Flynn. Like, he just jumped on it. And then he went on and goes, this is all about diversion, blaming this and stuff on Trump, changing, trying to control the narrative type thing. And then he came back later and he goes, I thought you had asked me whether or not I had anything to do with him being prosecuted. I'm sorry. I was aware that, and so this is the backtracking. I was aware that they had asked for an investigation, but that's all I know about it. And I don't think anything else. he continued with clarifying who, quote, they were. So it was one of those things. He's like, I didn't know anything about it. And somebody in his ear was like, hold on, you did. And so let me backtrack real quick. Cause we all know that he did because it was in the email, right? Whoever, I can't remember whose email it was. Yeah. Susan Rice's email. Yeah. So that's already public knowledge. So you can kind of see how he had to come back and say something. And I really believe somebody told him to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Joe, I would probably have an in-ear monitor. I mean, if I was working for Joe Biden, I would probably give him an in-ear monitor.
Right.
So, I mean,
required.
Yeah. Joe, now don't go on camera until you have your ears on. Let's see. Oh, Rochelle Bergeron. Okay. So the name Rochelle Bergeron, Monaco, that's what we need to look into. Okay. Hater proof. Let me just copy that and I will search it in another window. Okay. We'll look into it, buddy. Let's see. Hey Jude, coroner who declared intern cause of death, head hit on desk from fainting, later lost his license to malpractice. Yeah, I think the whole situation stinks to high heaven. Clearly it was orchestrated. I mean, how many people do you know who pass from, falling down and hitting their head on the desk? And Joe Scarborough just happens to be standing right there. Whoa, hold on. Too Legit B says SGT report follower committed self-deletion because he invested in silver and lost everything because of the pandemic.
What?
Whoa, that is terrible.
Yeah, anybody that has anything on that, drop it over in a DM on Twitter for us so we can have it. Because, I mean, that plays into everything. This is our movement and stuff. Whether we agree or disagree on anything, that doesn't matter especially when it comes to stuff like this. So, please forward any information about that to us.
Yeah, and I hope that, even if that's true, I mean, that's not something that you can put on SGT report. I mean, nobody should ever invest all of their money into a single thing. I mean, if you have a portfolio, if you're lucky enough to have a portfolio, you should definitely have a diversified portfolio, not financial advice. But I mean, that's it's good thinking right there because then you can't lose everything.
Right. And they're saying that SGT did a video on it.
Wow.
So I guess he's trying to get ahead of it. Because, I mean, that's like you said, you can't put the blame on him for it. Yeah. And that's why we always disclaimer things, to we're blue in the face about it. Hey, by the way, we're not pushing anybody to go riot or protest or anything. We try to not guide people in directions because these kind of things can happen. And we don't want to be, not only do we not want to be responsible for it, we don't want to see it happen at all.
Yeah, I don't understand how that could happen unless somebody invested in like silver stocks and like the mining company went out or something. I don't know. We'll have to look at it. Apparently X22 covered a little bit as well. Casey Anon, I want to go on the record for predicting HRC's Rona diagnosis just prior to her testimony. I've been personally waiting for that to come out myself. Daniel Turgeon was footage of a close-up of his eyes and they were slitted pupils. Not sure if it was true or edited. That's what they may be talking about. Yeah, you guys, there are so many videos of people that have like weird things going on with their eyes. Unless you're like directly in front of somebody, I just don't trust any of that stuff because there are artifacts, there are like missing frames when you're filming somebody. I mean, I don't know. And I've never met a lizard person in real life, so I'm not too quick to jump onto that stuff. Laura QAnon says, does anyone know why Trump is coming to Allentown, Pennsylvania? I live there and would love to see him. I mean, Trump has been to Allentown before. I mean, Allentown is like coal country, isn't it? So I bet you that's why he's going. Young Guns, Praying Medic's page still shows up. Praying Medic says, unlike a suspended YouTube account where all videos are removed, when Facebook suspends a page, all posts remain visible, but he can't post or respond to messages. That's terrible. Jordan Brown says, #RingFund. Thank you very much, buddy. Douglas Howell, thank you. Haterproof, don't put all your eggs in one boat. That's definitely a good idea. Stella Sutton, thank you for joining as a member. And EO2 Dave says, my thumb is blue. We've got almost 6,000 people here, guys, and 2.5 thousand likes. Please, if you have not yet, consider liking and sharing this broadcast. It would seriously help us out. We would really appreciate the support. The fact that you guys are here means everything to us, and the more people we get here, more eyes on the truth, the more that we can do with this work, because it's all about coming together and opening people's minds and their eyes.
Right, and we've been paying attention to how well this show's been received. We had a hunch that this would be a great show to do, especially during this time, but now that we see that it's kind of being consistent and we have everybody hanging out, everybody sharing it. It seems like the chat's enjoying it and stuff. That's shaping the conversations behind the scenes on what we want to do going forward. So we want to thank everybody for being involved in this and hanging out. It's an interactive thing.
Yeah.
That's why we like reading the super chats, and I read the chats during all this just in general to see what people's opinions are and all that stuff. So we enjoy it. There's definitely, you know, work in the background that we are planning on doing, but we wouldn't even be discussing it if there hadn't been such a great reaction to this show.
Yeah, totally. Now, I just want to say we've got a correction. Brian Davis says, no, it's not coal country. It's minutes from me. Is it steel country? I seem to remember that Pennsylvania has some strong industry like that, which is an American industry. I don't know, you guys. You'll have to tell me. I'm not from Pennsylvania. I think I've only driven through it, like on maybe 1 or 2 occasions, but what did Rochelle get close to? We're going to have to do some investigation on this one, Haterproof. I've never heard of her before, at least not that I can remember. So we'll check it out. Well, listen, guys, we appreciate everybody being here today. Thank you so much for the chat. We're not going to have time to get to Trey Gowdy today. We're going to have to talk about him tomorrow, or maybe I'll talk about it on my 6 p.m. video. So tune in at 6 p.m., and I definitely will cover that tidbit about Trey Gowdy. There's only so much that we can do in a single hour, but we'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'll be back at 6 p.m. for Red Pill News. And then tomorrow we'll be back with another excellent show. Thank you, Methods, once again for being here, buddy. Thank you to all of the mods, Real Red Pill Girlfriend, Real Red Pill Mom, and everybody who hung out and participated. We love you guys. We appreciate you being here. And continue to help us share the truth and spread the movement.
Yep. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. We love you all.
Have a good day, guys. Good luck, and God bless.